I'm 75 years old, and I need to tell you something that might change everything you think you know about your life. For 52 years, I lived a lie. Not a small lie, not a harmless white lie, a massive, life-consuming lie that stole my entire existence. I lived everyone else's dream, my parents' dream, society's dream, my boss's dream, my neighbor's dream, everyone's dream except mine, and I didn't even realize it until 2 years ago when something happened that shattered the illusion I had built around myself. I found a box, a simple cardboard box in my attic filled with things from when I was 23 years old, letters I had written, dreams I had sketched, plans I had made, and when I opened that box, I met a stranger, a young man full of fire and passion. A young man who knew exactly what he wanted. A young man who had plans to travel the world, write novels, and live on his own terms. That young man was me, and I had killed him, not with violence, with something far worse, with compromise, with practicality, with the words maybe later and be realistic, and that's not how the world works. I killed my dreams one decision at a time, and I replaced them with a life that looked perfect from the outside but felt hollow from the inside. If you're watching this right now, living a life that doesn't feel like yours, doing what's expected instead of what you desire, I need you to hear what I'm about to say, because I'm running out of time, and you still have a chance. Don't wait 52 years like I did. Don't wake up at 73 and realize you've been living someone else's story. This is my confession, this is my warning, and this might be the most important thing you ever hear. Let me take you back to the day everything changed. It was a Sunday afternoon, November 12th, 2022. I was 73 years old. I had just retired 6 months earlier after 47 years at the same company, accounting, numbers, spreadsheets, reports. Not once in 47 years did I wake up excited to go to work. Not once. But I went anyway, every single day, because that's what responsible people do. That Sunday, my wife asked me to clean out the attic. We were thinking about downsizing, moving to a smaller place. The kids were grown. The big house felt empty. So I climbed up those creaky stairs, flashlight in hand, ready to throw away old junk. And that's when I found it, a box in the corner covered in dust. My name written on the side in handwriting I barely recognized, my handwriting from 52 years ago. I sat down on the attic floor and opened it. Inside I found letters, dozens of them, letters I had written to myself at 23 years old, sealed and never sent. I opened the first one. Dear future me, it began. By the time you read this, you'll probably be living in Barcelona or maybe Paris. You'll have published your first novel. You'll be sitting in a cafe somewhere writing your second. You'll be free. I couldn't breathe. I opened another letter. I've decided I'm not going to take that accounting job. I know Mom and Dad want me to be stable, but I can't spend my life doing something I hate. I'm going to travel for a year, save up enough money and just go, see the world, live before I settle down. My hands were shaking. There were sketches in the box, too. Floor plans for a tiny house by the ocean. Lists of countries I wanted to visit. A half-written novel I had completely forgotten about. And photographs, me at 23, eyes bright, smile wide, looking at the camera like I owned the world. Who was this person? I sat in that attic for 3 hours, reading letter after letter, watching my dreams unfold on paper and then watching them die, because I knew what happened next. I didn't go to Barcelona. I took the accounting job. I didn't travel for a year. I got engaged to a sensible woman my parents approved of. I didn't write the novel. I filed tax returns. I didn't live by the ocean. I bought a house in the suburbs with a white picket fence and a 2-car garage. I did everything right, everything everyone expected, and I lost myself completely. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to a woman I had been married to for 49 years, a woman I respected, a woman who was kind, but not the woman I had loved. She was the safe choice, the approved choice, the right choice, and I had spent 49 years wondering, what if? I looked at the ceiling and asked myself a question I had been avoiding for half a century. Who am I? Not who did I become, not who was I supposed to be. Who am I? And I couldn't answer because the real me had been buried in that box for 52 years, forgotten, abandoned, dead. Let me tell you how this happened, because it didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly, one small surrender at a time. When I was 23, I had a choice: follow my dreams or follow the plan. My father sat me down. I can still hear his voice. Son, this writing thing, this traveling thing, it's not realistic. Get a good job, find a stable career. You can always do that other stuff later, when you're established, when you have money, when the time is right. So I waited. I told myself, I'll work this accounting job for 2 years, save some money, then I'll travel. 2 years turned into 5, so I waited again. I told myself, I'll get married, get settled, and then I'll write that novel on the weekends. The weekends filled up with chores and obligations, so I waited again. I told myself, when the kids are older, I'll have more time for my own interests. The kids got older, I got busier, so I waited again. At 35, I was promoted to senior accountant. My father was proud. My mother told all her friends I felt nothing, but I told myself, when I make manager, then I'll slow down. Then I'll pursue what matters. I made manager at 41. I didn't slow down. So I waited again. At 45, my mother got sick. I spent 2 years caring for her. By the time she passed, I was 47, exhausted, depleted. I told myself, I'll take some time now, process the grief, rediscover myself. But work needed me, family needed me, life needed me, so I waited again. At 55, my kids left for college. Finally, I thought, finally I can focus on me. But then came the grandchildren and my aging father, and promotions I couldn't refuse and obligations I couldn't escape. So I waited again and again and again until waiting became living, until postponing became permanent, until later became never. You know what the worst part is? From the outside, my life looked perfect. I had the stable career, I had the nice house, I had the respected position, I had the 49-year marriage. I had the grown children and the grandchildren, but I didn't have me. I didn't have my dreams. I didn't have my passion. I didn't have the life I actually wanted. I looked successful. I felt empty. I looked happy. I felt hollow. I looked like I had it all. I had nothing that mattered to me. Every morning I woke up and played a role: the good employee, the responsible husband, the reliable father, the stable provider. I played the role so well that I forgot it was a role. I became the mask, and the real me, the 23-year-old with fire in his eyes and dreams in his heart, disappeared completely. Let me tell you about the lies that stole my life. Maybe they're stealing yours too. The first lie: be realistic. Do you know how many dreams die because of those 2 words? Be realistic. Don't dream too big. Don't want too much. Stay in your lane. Play it safe. I heard those words from my parents, from my teachers, from my friends, from society, and I believed them. I believed that wanting more was greedy, that dreaming big was foolish, that following my heart was reckless, so I did what was realistic. And I took the safe job, married the safe woman, lived the safe life. And you know what I got? A safe life that felt like a slow death. The second lie: there's always later. This is the biggest lie of them all. You believe you have unlimited time. You believe you can always do it tomorrow. You believe that someday the conditions will be perfect. Let me tell you something. Later never comes. Tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. Next year turns into next decade, and suddenly you're 73 years old, sitting in an attic, reading letters from a stranger who used to be you. There is no later. There is only now. The third lie. Make everyone happy first. I spent 52 years trying to please everyone. My parents, my wife, my kids, my boss, my neighbors, everyone except myself. I thought that was noble. I thought that was good. I thought that was what real men do. It wasn't noble. It was cowardly. I was too scared to disappoint people, too scared to say no, too scared to stand up for what I actually wanted, so I gave everyone else my life and kept nothing for myself. A colleague of mine, David, he made different choices. He quit his accounting job at 30, started a small bookshop, married a woman he was madly in love with, never made much money. Everyone thought he was crazy. David's throwing his life away. They said he'll regret it. David died 3 years ago. He was 74. At his funeral, his children talked about adventures, road trips, late-night conversations, a father who was present, alive, fully there. His wife talked about passion, about a man who woke up every day excited about his life. The bookshop was packed with people whose lives he had touched. David didn't have the big house. He didn't have the impressive title. He didn't have the retirement fund I have, but he had lived, really lived. And I sat at that funeral in my expensive suit with my impressive resume, and I realized something. David won. He won everything that matters, and I lost. Is that the legacy you want? A life that looks good on paper but felt empty to live? You want to know what haunts me? It's not the things I did. It's the things I didn't do. Let me tell you about them. Barcelona. When I was 24, I had a chance to move there. A friend was opening a small cafe. He wanted a partner, someone to help run it, someone to write during the slow hours and serve coffee during the busy ones. I said no, too risky, too impractical, too far from home. That friend ran that cafe for 40 years. He wrote 3 novels. He married a Spanish woman. He lived every single day with passion. I filed tax returns. The woman I actually loved, her name was Maria. We met when I was 22. She was an artist, wild, free, everything I wanted to be. My parents didn't approve. She's not stable, they said. She's not wife material. So I let her go. I married someone my parents approved of instead. 49 years of a polite, quiet, stable marriage. And not a single day went by when I didn't wonder what life with Maria would have been like. I heard she moved to Italy, became a painter, lived by the sea, the life I dreamed of. She's living it, and I'm here. The novel I never wrote. I had 147 pages done when I was 23. A story about a young man who runs away from expectations and finds himself in a small village in Greece. It was good, really good, but I stopped writing it when I took the accounting job. I'll finish it later, I said. That manuscript sat in a drawer for 52 years. I found it in that box, 147 pages of a life I never lived. My father's last words. He died when I was 58. I was at work when it happened, a meeting I couldn't miss, a client who couldn't wait. By the time I got to the hospital, he was gone. I never got to say goodbye. I never got to tell him I loved him. I never got to ask if he was proud of me, really proud. Not just proud of my job, but proud of who I was. Those words died with him. The travels I never took, Greece, Japan, New Zealand, Iceland. I had a list, countries I wanted to see before I died. I've been to none of them, not one. I was always too busy, too responsible, too needed. Now I'm 75 and my knees ache and long flights exhaust me and the energy I had at 23 is gone. I waited too long. I waited until the waiting was all I had left. Every night I lie awake thinking about these things, not the promotions I got, not the money I saved, not the stability I built, the moments I missed, the life I didn't live, the me I never became. That's what keeps me up. That's what I can never get back. After I found that box, something shifted inside me. Something broke, but something else woke up. I was 73 years old, and I decided it wasn't too late, not too late to meet myself again. The first thing I did was strange. I bought a notebook, a simple blank notebook, and I started writing. Not the novel, not yet, but something. Words, thoughts, feelings I had buried for 52 years. It terrified me, putting myself on paper, being honest for the first time since I was 23. But I did it anyway. Then I did something harder. I told my wife the truth. I told her I had been living a lie, that I had never felt fully alive in our marriage, that I had spent 49 years wondering what if. She cried, but then she said something that surprised me. "I know," she said. "I've always known. I was just waiting for you to figure it out." We separated, not with anger, with something like relief. Two people finally honest with each other after half a century. I moved to a small apartment by the water, not the ocean, just a lake, but I can see the water from my window. Close enough. I started painting, something I had never done before. I'm terrible at it. I don't care. I enrolled in a writing class at the community college. The youngest student is 19. I'm 75. They look at me strangely sometimes. I don't care. I booked a trip to Greece. Finally, after 52 years of waiting, I leave in 3 months. My knees will hurt. The flights will exhaust me. I might need to rest every few hours. I don't care. I'm going. I'm 75 now. I've been living for myself for only 2 years. 2 years out of 75, and these have been the best 2 years of my life. I wake up excited. I go to sleep fulfilled. I look in the mirror and I recognize the person staring back, not the mask, me, the real me. Finally, I'm happier now at 75 with less time ahead of me than I was at 35 when I thought I had all the time in the world. That's the truth, and it breaks my heart because I wasted so much time, so much precious, irreplaceable time. Now I need to talk to you, not the general audience. You, the person watching this right now, the person who feels stuck, the person who's living a life that doesn't feel like theirs, the person who keeps saying someday and later and when the time is right. I see you because I was you. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly. Are you living your life or someone else's? Are you chasing your dreams or dreams that were handed to you? Are you being yourself or playing a role? If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied? Not would people be impressed at your funeral? Not would your parents be proud of your choices? Just would you be satisfied? Would you look back and say, yes, I lived. I was true to myself. I followed my heart. Or would you have regrets? I know what you're thinking right now, but my situation is different. I have responsibilities. I can't just abandon everything. People are depending on me. I told myself the same things for 50 years. And you know what I learned? Those are excuses. Beautiful, reasonable, socially acceptable excuses, but excuses nonetheless. You don't have to abandon everything. You don't have to be reckless, but you do have to be honest. Honest about what you want, honest about who you are, honest about the life you're living versus the life you desire. You think you have time. You don't. You really don't. I know time feels infinite when you're young. I know tomorrow seems guaranteed. I know later feels like a real place you can visit. It's not. Time is slipping away right now, this very moment. As you watch this video, seconds are passing that you will never get back. And every day you spend living someone else's dream is a day stolen from your own. Here's what nobody tells you. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. At 23, I could have changed everything with one decision. At 33, it would have been harder, but still possible. At 43, the fear was bigger, the stakes were higher. At 53, I had built an entire life around the lie. At 63, change felt impossible. At 73, I finally broke free, but I lost 50 years of living someone else's dream, 50 years of pretending, 50 years of waiting. Don't be me. Don't wake up at 75 and realize you never lived your own life. Don't find a box in your attic filled with the dreams of a stranger who used to be you, the person you are right now, the person with hopes and desires and passions that you keep pushing aside. That person is dying a little more every day, every time you say later, every time you choose safety over truth, every time you abandon yourself to please someone else. You're killing the real you, and one day there won't be anything left to save. If I could go back and talk to my 23-year-old self, here's what I would say. Stop. Stop waiting for permission. Nobody is going to give you permission to live your own life. Not your parents, not your spouse, not society. You have to give it to yourself. Stop living for applause. The people you're trying to impress don't think about you nearly as much as you think they do. And even if they did, their approval won't make you happy. Stop saying later. Later doesn't exist. It's a fantasy, a trick your mind plays to make you comfortable with inaction. Stop being realistic. Realistic killed my dreams. Realistic stole my passion. Realistic turned me into a hollow version of myself. Stop pretending. The mask is suffocating you. Take it off, even if it scares you, especially if it scares you. And start asking yourself what you want, not what your parents want, not what society expects, not what looks good on paper. What do you want? Start making small choices for yourself. You don't have to change everything overnight. Start small, one choice, one decision, one moment of honesty. Start writing down your dreams. Put them on paper, make them real. Look at them every day. Remember who you wanted to be before the world told you who to become. Start saying no. No to obligations that drain you. No to expectations that don't serve you. No to a life that doesn't feel like yours. Start taking tiny steps toward authenticity. One honest conversation, one small risk, one moment of truth. That's how change begins. If you want to travel, book a ticket. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you have enough money. Don't wait until your responsibilities decrease. They never will. Book the ticket. Figure out the rest later. If you want to create, create. Write the book. Paint the picture, start the business, make the music, do it badly at first, do it anyway. If you want to love, tell them how you feel, take the risk, open your heart. A life without love is not a life at all. If you want to leave, leave. The job that's killing your soul, the relationship that's draining you, the city that doesn't feel like home, leave. Do it now, not tomorrow, not next month, not when conditions are perfect. Now, right now, today. I'm 75 years old now. I've been living authentically for 2 years. 2 years out of 75. That's it. 2 years of being myself. 2 years of following my heart. 2 years of living instead of existing. And these 2 years have taught me more about life than the previous 73 combined. I've learned that happiness isn't complicated. It's simple. It's doing things you love with people who matter in a life that feels like yours. That's it. I've learned that fear never goes away, but courage means doing it anyway. I was terrified to tell my wife the truth. I did it anyway. I was terrified to move to a new apartment alone. I did it anyway. I was terrified to start writing again after 52 years. I did it anyway. The fear didn't disappear. I just stopped letting it win. I've learned that it's never too late, but it does get harder. If you're 25, change is easy. The path ahead is long. If you're 45, change is harder, but still possible. If you're 65, change requires courage, real courage. If you're 75, like me, change is an act of defiance against time itself, but it's still possible. It's always possible until you take your last breath. I would give anything to have those 52 years back, to have started living for myself at 23 instead of 73, to have gone to Barcelona, written the novel, married Maria, but I can't change the past, neither can you. You can only change what happens next. The irony is, when you finally start living authentically, you realize how simple it was all along. The prison was in your mind. The chains were made of fear, and the key was always in your pocket. You just had to use it. You have a choice right now, today, this moment. You can keep living someone else's dream. Keep pretending. Keep waiting for someday. Keep killing the real you, one compromise at a time. Or you can wake up. You can look in the mirror and ask yourself who you really are. You can make one small choice toward authenticity. You can start living your life instead of the life you were handed. The choice is yours. But understand this, the clock is ticking. Every day you wait is a day you lose. Every moment you postpone is a moment you'll never get back. And one day, maybe sooner than you think, time will run out. What will you have to show for it? A life that looked impressive or a life that felt alive? Someday is today. It always has been. The question is, will you finally believe it? If this story touched something in you, please share it. Not for me, for every person watching right now who's living someone else's dream and doesn't even realize it. For every person who needs to hear that it's not too late. For every person who's waiting for permission to be themselves, subscribe to this channel. I have more truths to share, and at 75, I don't have much time left to share them. Leave a comment below. Tell me, whose dream are you living, and what would your dream look like if you were brave enough to chase it? I read every comment. Your stories matter to me. Your time is precious. Thank you for spending some of it with me. Now close this video and go live your life, your real life, starting now.